welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Heather, and I wanted to start a YouTube channel where I can just sit and yap about books, and maybe we can yap together in the comment section. So I hope you enjoy your time. I'm going to start with the 10th and then go all the way to the 1st, my all-time favorite read, which I can't wait to share. So coming in at number 10 is a dark romance fantasy retelling in a sense. And that is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. Peter Darling decides to try to get his hands on a new drug that's moving throughout the streets that is called pixie dust. And James meets Peter's daughter, Wendy, who he immediately falls fast for. And it's definitely a dark romance story of he fell first, but she fell harder. And I love Emily McIntyre's writing. It is honestly some of the best romance writing I have ever read. I'm not really a big romance reader unless it is a dark romance. And I'm happy to say she ticks all the boxes for a dark romance. Peter Pan is one of my favorite fairy tales, so it was a little weird having the names be Peter Darling, Wendy Darling, James Hook, and not picture the characters, but they end up taking on a life of their own. And yeah, the names might be the same, but they really don't, you don't picture those people, which is something I really appreciate. Coming in at number 9 is another one that is one that I did not think I was going to like as much as I did, but I have never read a book where I feel more represented in a book than Tuesday Mooney Talks to Ghosts by Kate Reculia. I don't talk to ghosts. I wish I did sometimes. I feel like that'd be really cool, but also I have enough problems of my own. I do not need to add a ghost into that mix. But Tuesday Mooney Talks to Ghosts follows 20-something-year-old Tuesday who gets involved in this murder mystery where she has to follow these clues throughout New York City in order to solve who killed Vincent Price. But the ending had me fooled. I did not think it was going to end the way that it did, and Tuesday is really such an amazing female main character. She spends her free time watching old reruns of Twin Peaks and The X-Files. If you don't know me, The X-Files is my all-time favorite show, but Tuesday Mooney, I feel, really represented me for some way. It felt like Kate Reculia was in my head, like stuck in my head, and it was really great to feel represented as someone who loves the dark and the macabre and the creepy and the whimsical, but I myself am not creepy and whimsical. Next on the list is a brand new book that I just read a few months ago, and that is Blood on Her Tongue by Joanna Van Veen. This captivated me to no end. Lucy and Sarah are sisters, and Sarah is not doing good. Sarah has contracted something, and she's not herself. But Lucy believes she can figure out what's wrong with Sarah. She just has to be near her sister. But Sarah's husband is of the mindset that maybe Sarah just needs to be locked away. I absolutely loved Lucy as a character. She was very interesting to me in the sense that she would not back down, and this takes place in 1887, so it's very much a time period where women who didn't back down could be viewed as troublesome, and if they were married, or their father or their brother, whoever the man in charge of them was, could just decide to lock them away and nobody could fight them on it, including them. But thankfully Lucy does not let that happen to Sarah. If you like very naturalistic horror, this is definitely one for you. Coming in at number 7, we have the first book in a trilogy from native horror author Stephen Graham Jones, and that is My Heart is a Chainsaw. This is book 1 of the Indian Lake trilogy. I love Stephen Graham Jones. If you are feeling like horror is just not doing it for you, Native American horror is where it's at. There is nothing scarier to me than what the Native Americans' myths and legends, and he doesn't get very graphic with his horror. If you like horror but you don't like the blood and guts and gore of horror, Stephen Graham Jones might be one for you to check out. But this follows Jay Daniels, who is just trying to survive. She's just trying to get through life. And a known serial killer ends up escaping from prison and going to her small town. And she has to use every knowledge she has in her brain of slasher movies in order to defeat him and survive. There is no final girl like Jade Daniels. Um, but if you like slasher films, there's so many Easter eggs in this book and in the whole trilogy. Stephen Graham Jones himself has said that he loves slasher films. So if you're like me and you're a horror buff, especially if it's a slasher, definitely check out the Indian Lake trilogy. Coming in at number 6 on the list, I'm personally getting excited because I can't wait to talk about my top 5. This is a mystery thriller. Mr. Tender's Girl is loosely based off the attempted Slender Man killings from a few years ago. I don't want to get too into that because he himself says that it's only loosely based. It's not really a retelling of something that very traumatic and very awful happened. So if you know that case, then you'll know where this is coming from. If you don't know that case, go look it up. But Mr. Tender's Girl follows Alice Hill, who, when she was 14 years old, 2 of her so-called friends attempted to kill her in a sacrifice to a fictional bartender named Mr. Tender, who is the creation of Alice's father. Then things start happening that kind of are showing her Mr. Tender might not be all that fictional. I have read this about 3-4 times. Every time I read it, I find something new that I missed the first time I read it. And I cannot wait to do a reread this year. I pretty much read this one every year if I need a good palate cleanser of everything else that I've read. I have annotated it, and then the last time I read it, I added like a few new annotations to it just because I missed stuff the first time or the second time around. I also highly recommend Carter Wilson's other books if you want some that aren't necessarily based off true stories, loosely based off true stories. I have read all of his newest work, and I cannot recommend him enough for mystery thriller, and they're fairly quick to get through. Finish a Carter Wilson book in a good 3, 4, 5 hours if I'm trying. And now we get to jump into the top 5 favorite books of mine. I'm so excited to talk about these. Coming in hot at number 5 is Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohanty. This is book 1 in an Indian Game of Thrones inspired retelling of the Rag of Rata. I hope I pronounced that right. The Game of Thrones is one of my favorite books. I've not finished reading the books. I love the series and I really enjoy it. Daenerys Targaryen is my favorite Mother of Dragon character. Her counterpart in Sons of Darkness is also really, really badass, and I really love her. But if you want high fantasy with military vibes and Game of Thrones vibes, and you're looking for something that just might give you a little kick to get more into Game of Thrones, or you want something that maybe even be better than Game of Thrones, Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohanty. Also, this book is just stunning. I have the sequel, Dance of Shadows, which is also done in the same art style, and it really is a beautiful, beautiful book to have, not just read, but I would recommend reading it as well. Coming in at number 4, now this series needs no introduction. If you don't know what it's about, I don't know what rock you have been living under, but there's plenty of videos out there that will break down the whole entire plot for you. I'm not going to do that because this is such a popular series, but that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I actually am doing a reread of this currently. That's why I have a bookmark in it. I have that much more to go. If you don't know what this is about, again, I'm not going to sit here and go through the whole thing, but this rough, short, and sweet version is that this takes place in a future dystopia where there are 12 districts, used to be 13, 13 is gone now, and each district has to put up one boy and one girl between the ages of 12 and 18 to fight in a battle to the death in what is called an arena in what is called the Hunger Games. And the victor of that battle gets showered with praise and showered with riches in the district. The district also gets a year's worth supply of food and money and clothing and anything that they could need to survive. And Katniss Everdeen, our female main character, our heroine, is reaped for the 74th annual Hunger Games, and maybe the odds are in District 12's favor. This book is first in a trilogy, original trilogy, which is The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. But now we've had 2 additions to the series, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping, which are both prequels. In my personal opinion, I think you should read the original trilogy before you read the newest 2. That's just how I would do it. In this reread, I am doing it in chronological order, and I'm not really enjoying my time. I think you need to read it in publication order, but that's up to you how you read it. I will say, though, if this is your first time reading it, you don't know how the original trilogy ends, do not read the epilogue of Sunrise on the Reaping. You will be spoiled, and you will be upset that you got spoiled, because then the original trilogy, it's not going to hold the same. But this is one of my all-time favorite trilogies. It's definitely, well, series. It's definitely recommended for YA, but I think even as an adult, I'm 27, and this still holds true to this day. And now we are in my top 3 favorite reads, and coming in at number 3 is the mammoth of a book, It by Stephen King. I know it's a mammoth of a book. I read it once in college, and it took me 3 months to read. I personally loved it when I read it. The movies are great. Chapter 1 of the new one, of Bill Skarsgård's It. Chapter 1 is the best. Chapter 2 is okay. Tim Curry's is hilarious. Tim Curry did a great job portraying Pennywise. Bill Skarsgård, however, he has the facial movements that make him emulate Pennywise, and I will never see anybody else as Pennywise. I do know the show Welcome to Derry is coming out in a few months. I am excited. I am going in blind. I have seen 1 trailer. That is it. I don't want to see any other trailers. I don't want to be spoiled of what happens, who the characters are, nothing. I don't want to know anything. Stay out of my comments. Look, I want to do a reread for Halloween and see how long it takes me to finish it. Coming in at number 2 is another Stephen King book, and that is Fairy Tale by Stephen King. When this book came out, I immediately grabbed it. I immediately started it that night. And honestly, this is one of the best fairy tale / fantasy books I have read in a long time. If you like fantasies for adults, if you like fairy tales, if you want that nostalgia that you get from fantasies as a child and reading fantasies as a child, this book is going to give you that. This book follows Charlie, who gets a job helping his neighbor, Mr. Bowditch. And when Mr. Bowditch passes away, Charlie realizes that he has a portal in the backyard that leads to a world that is very different than our world. And there is a dog in this book. Her name is Radar. She is adorable. Slight spoiler alert, nothing happens to Radar. She's fine. I would never forgive Stephen King for having something happen to Radar, and thank God nothing does. Highly recommend. Coming in at number 1, my all-time favorite book, you have to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So if you don't know, let me tell you, this book follows Addie LaRue, who makes a deal with the devil, or the gods after dark, and be able to live the life the way that she wants. But the catch is that nobody will remember her. Addie ends up going through life being easily forgotten by everybody she encounters. She can't have relationships. She can't have friends. She's solely and utterly alone in the world. Until she meets Henry, who also made a deal with the gods after dark. The ending, forever and a day, makes me sob. I did my reread last year and I sobbed, and my fiance looked at me and goes, "You know how it's going to end." And I said, "Yeah, but I think it's going to change every time." It does not change every time. I love this book. This is my all-time favorite book. So that concludes today's video of my top 10 favorite books. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see from me. I do have an Instagram, a Bookstagram, where I do book reviews, and my Goodreads, which are all linked down below. I also have a Pango books where I sell some books. So if you want some books of mine that are needing to go to new homes, feel free to go there and see if you find any new friends. And until next time.